Hello, hello. Welcome to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we move away from awareness towards action. It's Health and Wellness Monday, and our topic for today is what is medical gaslighting? The signs, responses, and consequences. On the last episode of Warriors Talk, Doc Michelle and I talked about heart disease prevention. Go over to YouTube, type in intellectual radio, and stay connected for any episodes you may have missed. The quote of the day is, "Don't just seek out help when you're suffering." Every day is a good day to learn, grow, and help yourself. Every day is a good day to invest in bettering the quality of your life. Here are your trending topics for today. We are still celebrating Black History Month. The story of Black History Month began in 1915, half a century after the 13th Amendment abolished slavery in the United States. That September, the Harvard-trained historian Carter G. Woodson and the prominent minister Jesse E. Moreland founded the Association Study of Negroes' Life and History, an organization dedicated to researching and promoting the achievement of Black Americans and other people of African descent. Since 1976, every U.S. president has officially designated the month of February as Black History Month. Other countries around the world, including Canada and the United Kingdom, also devoted a month to celebrating Black history. I am so grateful for my sponsor on today, you guys. I have the Emanuel C.O.G.I.C with Pastor Michael Richardson, who has a special message for us.
Greetings, I am Pastor Michael Richardson.
And I am First Lady Anastasia Richardson from the Emanuel Church of God in Christ. We're located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, Illinois. We are building upon a solid foundation.
And we're inviting you to join us every Sunday morning on Facebook Live at Emanuel C.O.G.I.C at 10:15 Central Standard Time. And you can also view our videos on our YouTube channel at Emanuel C.O.G.I.C-MR. Once again, this is Pastor Michael Richardson
and First Lady Anastasia Richardson, and we're from the Emanuel Church of God in Christ. We are building upon a solid foundation.
If you are tuned in on any form of social media, like the show, share the show, invite someone else in on the show that you feel may benefit from this valuable information. Tonight, we're talking about what is medical gaslighting, the signs, responses, and consequences. The term gaslighting actually originated from a movie, Gaslight. It describes when a person dismisses someone else, making them doubt themselves. And I'm sure we all can think about a person who has made us feel that way. But tonight we're talking about medical gaslighting. It's when a healthcare provider dismisses your complaints or concerns. They don't take you seriously, or they blame your symptoms being vague, saying that, oh, you're just stressed out, or maybe it's just your age, or maybe you're just fatigued, right? Making you think that, oh, maybe it is all in my head. So what are examples of medical gaslighting? Medical gaslighting actually has certain people or groups that are in this class, right? So when it comes to medical gaslighting, it can include women, people of color, and also people who have chronic health diseases, right? Because those people seem like they are the least people, they seem like they're the helpless people, they seem like they're the people that's most discarded. So those are the people who are most likely to suffer from gaslighting. How do you know when you are experiencing gaslighting, right? How do you know? How do you know that someone is gaslighting you? So let's talk about some of the things that you may experience when you are being gaslighted by someone, preferably your doctor or a nurse or someone that you may deal with in the medical field. So number one, having your symptoms or concerns dismissed or maybe even ignored altogether, right? They may be like, you tell them what's going on and they be like, oh, okay. Yeah, so yeah, how's the weather today? It's very nice outside. Oh, I noticed that, you gained a little weight. Like they're going to dismiss exactly what you said. It's not going to be of a big concern to them, making you feel like, oh my God, like I know they just heard me, making you feel like you're invisible. And how bad is it? How horrible is it for you to go to a place where we're supposed to get help, and then you get there and you're dismissed, and you're not heard, you're not seen. So number one, the first way that you know that you're being gaslighted is that you're having your symptoms or your concerns, they are being dismissed, they're being ignored, just like you haven't said anything. So how do you know when you are experiencing medical gaslighting? Number two, feeling as if the healthcare provider is actually blaming you for the symptoms. You're feeling this way because you're overweight. You're feeling this way because you're drinking too many pops. You're feeling this way because you're fatigued all the time. You're feeling this way because you're up in age. You're feeling this way, and making what you just told them and how you were feeling, because you know what you're experiencing, making it like you're causing these things to happen. Just your mere existence is causing these things to happen. And then you start to, like, in your mind, like, oh wow, like what am I really doing to cause myself to feel this way? And am I really feeling these symptoms? Is it really all in my head? So another way that you know that you are experiencing medical gaslighting is that your symptoms are written off as being normal or no explanation for it, right? So you're telling the doctor, oh, I'm having palpitations like every 3 days. I'm getting palpitations and I'm sitting at the moment. So it's not like I'm working out. It's not like I'm exerting myself, but I keep feeling these palpitations. They're lasting like 30 minutes at a time. So you're telling this to the doctor, and the doctor is just like, oh, okay, well, maybe you just had a hard day. Maybe you was just stressed out, not really sure why that's happening. No explanation for you to go home or with a plan to figure out how you are going to, live a nice quality of life without these symptoms. They're not even addressing the symptoms. Your symptoms are being written off, just like, okay, it's normal for your heart to be racing for 30 minutes for 3 days a week. No, it's not. It's not. Your diagnosis is fully or mostly based on your gender, your race, your sexuality, or your irrelevant medical history, like without doing any type of further testing. Oh, African Americans normally have high blood pressure. African Americans normally have diabetes. Oh, women go through menopause at this age. It's normal for women to have, these horrible cramps. You shouldn't really be concerned about it. Right? Making you feel like it's really all in your head, like you're making this up. So another way that you know that you are experiencing medical gaslighting is that you're having to argue just to be listened to or taken seriously. This is very discouraging, for you to go to the doctor and for them to make you almost like you're in there fighting for your life to get the doctor to listen to you, because we know they only have 15 minutes while we're there. So we got to try to cram everything in a 15-minute visit, especially when you're going for your annual exam. Now, the annual exam should not be no 15 minutes. It should take longer than that. Really, any appointment that you go to the doctor should take longer than that, to give you a chance to get in there and feel calm and calm down, because your heart is probably beating fast and you're nervous about being there. And so that 15 minutes is going to go so quick, and you're not going to address probably any of the issues that you came in there with. And to top it off, you're having to argue with the doctor to listen to you and to take you seriously. That alone is scary in itself. So another way that you know that you are experiencing medical gaslighting is that you may even start to second guess yourself. Is my heart really racing 30 minutes for 3 days a week? Like, am I just imagining this? Has this headache really lasted a whole month with no let up? Like, this pain in my right leg, is it just these sharp pains? Like, is this normal? Like, what am I doing to cause this? You're second guess yourself. Oh, maybe I had on the wrong shoes, maybe my hair was too tight and that's why I had the headache. Maybe I had some caffeine and that's why my heart was beating fast. You begin to rationalize with yourself because you're not being heard, right? They're not listening to you. They're making it seem like, oh, it's really all in your head. I could just give you an example. When I was 25, and I would always go to the doctor, like frequently go to the doctor. Like, I've always gone to the doctor. I've always been proactive about keeping up with my appointments at the doctor. So I had my annual exam, and I had a male doctor at the time, and I asked him, I said, hey, how would you know if I had cancer? This was me at 25, not knowing that at 43 I was going to be diagnosed, but I was being proactive at 25. And he says, well, no, you don't have cancer. I was like, how do you know? And he was like, well, I said, well, what test did you run to check to see if I had cancer? Well, we did blood work. Was that blood work that you did, was it a test for you to check for cancer? And he's just like, oh, you don't have cancer. You're 25, you're young. And I said, can you take the test that you would test for someone to see if they have cancer? Like, can you do that blood test? And he was like, no, you don't need that. I was like, can you do that blood test? And he just brushed me off, wouldn't do the blood test. And when I tell you that I changed my doctor and I asked for a lady doctor, and I remember going to the appointment and seeing him in the hallway and me going into the other doctor's office. And I was serious. I was just like, and I told her, she was like, what's going on? What made you switch doctors? I said, well, the doctor didn't listen to me. I was asking him, like, how do you know that someone is cancer free? What test do you take? And can you run that test on me to see if I'm cancer free? And she said, yeah, we could run a test. Normally we wouldn't, because you don't have any like a history or family history or anything. So normally we wouldn't. And she claimed she ran the test, right? So I'm assuming she did at 25. So yeah, I pushed, and then I took action. I didn't just stay there and allow him to stifle me. I took matters into my own hands, and I got out of there. I got out of there. So it's important to remember that your concerns are valid, and you deserve to have the proper attention when you go to the doctor's office. You deserve for that doctor's attention to be all on you, even if it's for that 15 minutes. You should not have to fight for his attention. You should not have to be in there fighting for what it is that you're feeling, what it is that you want to address. And that's the reason why you are there. Medical gaslighting is serious. When you go to the doctor, we go with the hopes of being seen, being heard, and being helped. You want the doctor to see you as a person when you go in there. And whatever is coming out of your mouth, you want the doctor to listen and take you seriously. And then you want the doctor to help you and say, okay, I see you, I've heard you, and this is what we're going to do. As simple as that. Our doctor's job is to listen, to educate, and then to motivate. So you listen to me, you hear me. Don't listen to respond, but you actually hear what I'm saying. And then you educate me. Oh, okay, well, you know what? You're experiencing that. And from my experience, individuals who experience this is because of X, Y, Z. Okay, motivate me. This is what we're going to do about this issue. And that would bring some sort of calmness to you, not just dismissing me, not just pushing me off, not just blaming it on something that's all in my head. No, don't do that to somebody, especially when you're spending money. You're spending money. I'm spending my money. Why is it not important for you to see me, to hear me, and to help me? You taking my money, but you don't want to take the time, right? My money is an investment in my health. And so you should take the time to listen to the individuals who are sitting there in your office. And I can say that the last time I had my annual appointment, it was about an hour appointment. My doctor actually went over everything. Like, she went over everything. And I left there feeling empowered. I left there because I was asking questions, and okay, what about this? Okay, did we do this? Okay, what, you have to advocate for yourself. We can't expect the doctor to advocate for us, right? We can't. We have to advocate for ourselves. Don't go into the doctor. I mean, you're already nervous when you go in the doctor's office, right? You're already nervous. You're already shy. You're already nervous about, oh, what if they find something? Oh, God, I don't want to be here, right? So you being evasive about all of the symptoms and stuff that you're having. You're probably really not being honest, because you probably been on the internet and like, oh, yeah, you're going to die in 2 days with those symptoms. So, you don't want to believe that that's happening, but you do want to go to the doctor to get some sense of calmness, because you figure like, oh, this is an expert, they've seen so many patients, and they should be able to help me. They should be able to listen to me and help me. So what should I do if I think that I am being gaslighted by my doctor? Now, this is the response part, right? What should you do? What type of action should you take when you feel like you're being gaslighted? The first one is, you try to talk to them, and you let them know that your concerns are real. My concerns are real. This is my life. This is my body. And I need you to hear me, right? My heart been beating 3 days a week for 30 minutes really fast. That's not normal. What can you do? What can we do? What test can we take? What test can you refer me to take when I leave here today, so that we can address this issue? So first, try to talk to them and let them know and express how real your concerns are. Number two, the way that if you feel like you're being gaslighted, what can you do? You can keep a journal, write that stuff down, every interaction that you have, right? Even write down your symptoms that you have, what time you had the symptoms, the day you had the symptoms, what you was doing when you had these symptoms. Like, keep a journal, so when you go in there, you got some sort of proof to tell, to show the doctor, right, that this is just not a one-time episode that I had at home. It's not a one-time episode. This is an episode that I keep having, and I'm here to address these issues. So what should you do if you feel like you're being gaslighted? The third thing you should do is come in there prepared with a list of questions. Think about those questions at home. If you got to look up some questions on the internet, write those questions down and come prepared, not to overwhelm the doctor. You're not in there to try to overwhelm the doctor with all of your questions. In 15 minutes, you're trying to, you got a whole book of questions that you're trying to get answered, but let them be specific to those symptoms that you're feeling. So come in with those questions. Those questions are going to empower you, and it's going to empower the doctor, because the doctor is going to know, okay, what questions to ask next, or, okay, what are we looking at here, so that they can come to a conclusion. The fourth thing that you can do is you can send the doctor an email ahead of time, right? When you feel like you're being gaslighted by the doctor and you want to take some type of control, send them an email of your concerns about your health. This way, you are giving the doctor a heads up. And if there's anything that they need to research or look up before they come and see you, they'll have an answer when they are sitting in front of you. So don't be afraid to ask the doctor, hey, can I email you some of my symptoms or my concerns, so that, I know we only have 15 minutes and I want to make sure that my issues are addressed. You can take a relative or a friend with you, because sometimes when we're there, we don't hear everything, right? We nervous and we just like, oh my God, I wish they hurry up. I just want to get out of here. And so having someone there with you is going to allow you, or have a second set of ears, right? You want them to be able to hear everything that a doctor is saying, so you don't miss anything. So having a support there, and I'm not saying bring a whole family, one person that you trust, bring that person. And you may want to ask the doctor, can you record it? The doctor may say no. Can you record it? They may say no. But it doesn't hurt to ask. It doesn't hurt to ask, hey, can I record this? I just want to make sure that I, stay on top of everything that you said. So it doesn't hurt to ask the doctor. bring the support person into the appointment with you. Have them sit there with you, somebody that you trust, and have them to, after you meet with the doctor, y'all have your own meeting to repeat back what the both of you heard, right? You want to make sure that you heard the same thing. So number 6, the way that you can feel empowered from you feeling like you're being gaslighted is you can also contact a patient advocate. They have patient advocates there that will go with you. They will help you navigate through the system so that to make sure, I'm sorry, you guys, that's my chihuahua. It's making noise. So I hope you guys can hear me. But you can ask the hospital or the clinic, do they have a patient advocate? How can you get in contact with a patient advocate that would be able to help you navigate through the medical system to make sure that you're asking the right questions, to make sure that you're getting everything that you're supposed to get from that visit? Because sometimes we just don't know. We just don't know. Number 7 is sometimes you need to get a second opinion. If you are telling the doctor all of your symptoms and the doctor is not listening to you, I'm sorry, you guys. The dog is in the background. Blue. Shh. I'm live. I'm sorry, you guys. Number 7 is, again, get a second opinion. Make sure that you get a second opinion, because sometimes that second opinion, most times that second opinion is going to give you a peace of mind. And if you feel like you're not being heard, seen, or helped by your doctor, then a second opinion may be exactly what you want to do. So don't feel bad that you're getting a second opinion. Don't feel like you're cheating on the doctor because you're getting a second opinion. This is your body. This is your health. And you need to take all measures that you can to make sure that you live a long, healthy life. If it's just so worse off that you know what, I can't take this anymore, file a complaint. Sometimes people need to know how they are. And if nobody is complaining, if nobody is saying anything, then people are going to think that they're doing an amazing job. Sometimes you have to give people a reality check and say, hey, you can try to address it with them. And then if they're not listening, then you can definitely file a complaint and say, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. This is how many times I'm experiencing it. And it goes back to that journal, writing stuff down, so that nobody that's coming behind you is going to be experiencing that same thing. We have to open our mouth. We have to speak up. It's not just for you. So what are some side effects from gaslighting, from medical gaslighting? What are some side effects? And the side effects are mainly the consequences to you being gaslighted, right? What are some of those side effects that you feel? And what are some of the consequences that comes from being gaslighted? Number 1, a diagnosis can be missed, because if the doctor is not listening to your symptoms, if the doctor is dismissing you, then he or she is not diagnosing you with anything. So something can be missed. And how serious is that if you have some type of disease or virus or something going on in your body and the doctor is not addressing it and time is just passing? And so in this case, number 2, in some cases, it delays your diagnosis. And we know with a cancer diagnosis, the earlier, the better. The earlier they catch that cancer, most likely the better that your treatment is going to be. Most likely, the better your outcome should be, catching it early. But if you are in a situation to where you are telling your doctor, I need a mammogram, although you're not of age to get a mammogram. I know, but I need a mammogram. I feel a lump. I need a mammogram. And they're pushing you off because you're young and you're not supposed to get one, even a colonoscopy, and you're young and you're not supposed to be. You have to advocate for yourself. If that doctor won't do it, go to the next doctor. That doctor won't do it, go to the next doctor. If you got to call the head of the hospital, whoever that chief doctor is, call them and say, hey, this is what I need. I'm not I'm not feeling seen. I'm not feeling heard. I'm not feeling helped. Number 3, when it comes to side effects from medical gaslighting, those consequences is it could be a delay in treatment too, because you're not diagnosed, so you don't even know what you have, so you can't even have access to the treatment. And if you delay some of these diseases, it can really be detrimental to your health. Most of the time when you're catching diseases in the later stages, your treatment regimen is going to be worse than you're catching it in a 0 or 1 stage. There's going to be a buildup of mistrust with the medical system when you know someone is not listening to you, and they're dismissing you and blaming you and making you feel like you're the problem, and everything is all in your head. Now you will have a mistrust of the medical system, and you're not going to want to go to another doctor. You're going to say, well, I'm just going to deal with this on my own. And we don't want to be dealing with anything serious at home on our own with our own remedies. We do know that there's some herbs and stuff that we can use, but you need to be seen by a doctor as well. Number 5, when it comes to the side effects from medical gaslighting, is that it impacts your self-esteem. Now you feel like crap because the doctor is making you seem like you're crazy, making you seem like all of these symptoms that you telling them about is in your head. And you're like, what's wrong with me? Making you seem like you having these issues because you're overweight. Oh my God. You're having these issues because, that's what the African American race have. No, absolutely not. No. It will cause you to suppress your emotions. People will suppress their emotions, and they're not going to want to reach out and be open to the doctor again. It says gaslighting can have a serious consequence for patients, including ongoing and emotional and medical distress. As of a result, 31% of people surveyed discussed their experience with a therapist or stopped seeking treatment for their conditions altogether. How scary is that? As you telling the doctor what's going on with you, they're dismissing you, and you still go home and you have these symptoms. Now you're just like, whatever, I'm not going to even deal with this because, I'm not going to that doctor. I feel even worse when I go to the doctor. You feel even worse because you don't feel heard, you don't feel seen, and you don't feel helped from a person who's supposed to be listening to you, right? They're supposed to be listening. So medical gaslighting is happening with 30% of encounters that's going to the doctor, 50% of all female encounters, and the numbers are even worse for people of color. People are being gaslighted even going to the doctor. Women, we are told, it may be menopause. It's all in your head. You're doing too much at home. Try to, let some things go. No, how about you run these tests that I'm asking you to run? Do that. So when it comes to women in medical gaslighting, women are one of the most common victims of medical gaslighting. Many times they're told that their symptoms, again, are due to premenstrual syndrome, PMS, or some type of mental health issues. And who wants to be told that you have mental health issues when you know that that's not the case? Mental health issues still needs to be addressed. So if I'm telling you that I'm having these symptoms, you still need to address it and not just send me home to deal with it on my own. Medical gaslighting based on race. We already know, as African American people, we already know people of color are also frequently affected by medical gaslighting. This is often rooted in racism, a public health crisis that has resulted in significant health disparities. So I wanted to mention about them saying that African American women don't feel pain like Caucasian. So they will give us 9 times out of 10, they won't give us as much pain medicine because they feel like, we could tolerate the pain, right? Like, who are you to tell me what my pain tolerance is? That's for me to tell you, right? It says believing that Black people have thicker skin and less sensitive nerve endings. Believing that Black people are biologically different from white people. Being over twice as likely to use negative descriptors in Black patients' charts compared to white patients. None of these beliefs and behaviors are based on the truth, and yet they still persist. They still persist. So how can you and I avoid medical gaslighting? What can we do to make sure that we're not being gaslighted? Number one, I mentioned this earlier, bring a support system with you. You want to make sure that if you feel like you're not being heard by the doctor, you are going to want to take somebody with you. And taking somebody with you is so normally when you take somebody with you, that the doctor is not going to be rude, right? The doctor is not going to be dismissive, right? Why? Because there's a witness. There's a witness to this behavior. And no, they don't want to witness. So 9 times out of 10, they're not going to dismiss anything that you say. They're not going to treat you rude. They're going to listen. So don't feel bad or ashamed if you have to take a friend or a relative with you to that appointment. So the second way that you can avoid being gaslighted is to bring a list of written questions, again, or send an email in advance. When you do this, you are empowering yourself. Again, you're giving the doctor a heads up so that they can research things before they get to you, and then you can have time to address them. But you can say, I looked these up. I've already did my research. I've already did my digging. And this is what the symptoms say for this. Can I get this test? This is what I'm telling you. This is what I need. I need this test. And you just have to you gotta be firm. It's fine to bring relevant references. So again, we're on the internet looking up stuff, and it's okay to say, hey, I saw this doctor doing XYZ, or I looked up these symptoms and it's saying that I need this test. Like, it's okay to bring those references. Don't overwhelm the doctor with them, because the doctor may feel like you're trying to do their job. Don't name drop another doctor, like Dr. So-and-so is doing this with his patients over here. Like, no, don't do that. We don't want to do that. But what we do want to do is we want to be polite, but we want to be firm in what it is that we want our doctor to do for us, right? Again, we want to be seen, we want to be heard, and we want to make sure that we're helped. Number 6, walk away with a plan of action. Don't you leave that doctor's office until you have a plan of action. And I don't mean prescriptions, right? I don't just mean prescriptions. I don't mean a Band-Aid. That's a Band-Aid. But you want to make sure that you walk away with a plan of action, whether that be they referred you for a test to address your symptoms, right? Or even if you have to make a second appointment because you couldn't get everything in on that appointment, and you come back on the second appointment, giving the doctor a chance to maybe research and on some things. That's fine too. That's fine too. As long as you are able to get your questions, your symptoms, you want them to be addressed. You don't want to leave that doctor's office and you're going home and you're like, wow, what was that? I still feel the same. No, feel empowered. You should feel empowered when you leave that doctor's office. So today we talked about the definition of what medical gaslighting is, and I gave you the definition of gaslighting. We talked about the signs of gaslighting, the responses of gaslighting, consequences of gaslighting, and I also gave you ways to avoid being gaslighted. We know going to the doctor, especially when you have cancer too, when you go and you're doing your follow-ups and you mention that you're having this issue or that issue, and you thinking it may be cancer coming back, and they're thinking, nope, it's all in your head. Like, and it sometimes it might be because we think every single pain, itch, ache may be, and we go into the doctor because we just want to be sure. We just want to get a peace of mind, right? We just want to have that peace of mind. And I'm coming to you because I'm feeling like you, this expert, and again, they're practicing practitioners. And so I'm coming to you because you have more experience and more knowledge than I do on this subject. And hopefully you had enough experience with seeing multiple individuals, maybe with these symptoms. And so I'm trusting you to give your best judgment, right? Steer me in the right direction. But don't dismiss what I'm saying. Don't blame me and shame me for calling out my symptoms. Be your own self-advocate. Sometimes you have to be an advocate for yourself. Sometimes you just have to, again, we're not gonna go in there nasty, we're gonna be polite, we're gonna be firm, and we're gonna walk away with a plan, or we're gonna walk away and go somewhere else. Don't be afraid to go anywhere else to get what you need for your health. Don't be afraid to walk away to get what you need for your health. Your health is so important. You only have one body. And believe me, when this body breaks down, sometimes it takes forever to build it back up or to get even close to where you were. I'm nowhere near where I used to be before I had my cancer diagnosis. Nowhere near. Before my cancer diagnosis, I was a solid 10. Right now, I'm a solid 6. I was a 6 in my 20s, but not in my 30s and 40s. But yeah, I was a solid 10 before my cancer diagnosis. And now I'm a solid 6. And I don't think I will ever get back to a 10. I don't feel like it's in the cards for me. So I'm focusing on being healthy. I'm focusing on being lean and having, muscle in a good way, not fat, but, muscle in a good way. So sometimes you have this one body and you're going to the doctor because you're trying to maintain what you have. You're trying to make sure that what you have is going to last you a lifetime so that you can have a quality of life. You don't have to, nothing against people walking around on canes or in a wheelchair or anything like that. But you want to make sure that you're doing everything that you can so that you can be active. You can be as healthy as you can for your age or even healthier. And so part of us being proactive is going to the doctor when we feel like things are not the way that they should be. So don't stop listening to your body. Don't stop advocating for yourself. Don't stop going to the doctor when your body is telling you that something is not right. Listen, because it could be a matter of life or death. Don't allow the doctor to push you off with those symptoms months and years at a time. And then next thing you know, you go to the doctor and they're like, oh, you got stage 4 cancer. You're like, how? I've been coming to the doctor telling you these symptoms and you have done nothing. So don't feel like you're bothering the doctor. Don't feel like, like you're crazy. No, you want to make sure that you are living your best life. And part of that is being proactive about your health. So going to the doctor, just know that some of us may experience the medical gaslighting. And the only way that you're going to be able to combat that is to be a health advocate for yourself. Again, take somebody with you to the doctor. Be firm, be polite, take your list, email the doctor. Make sure that you're doing everything that you can. And when you leave that doctor, that you're walking away with a plan for your health. We do our part, and then we're going to hold the doctors accountable for doing their parts. And we're going to make sure that we're not experiencing medical gaslighting, especially if you're a woman, especially if you are a person of color, especially if you are a person that is experiencing a chronic disease. You have the right to be heard, be seen, and be helped. And the doctor has a right and is expected to listen, to educate, and to motivate. All right, you guys. I hope that you have enjoyed the show today for medical gaslighting, the sign, the responses, and the consequences. Most of us probably have experienced it in our life and we just didn't know what it was. We just was like, walked away from the experience and was like, ooh, that wasn't nice. And you didn't know what it was, right? And so now you know what medical gaslighting is. And I didn't know what it was until I looked it up. But I do know that I experienced it back in when I was 25 and I took the action to switch my doctor. So you have some control in your hand on what to do when it comes to your health. Don't just sit there and be dismissed. So, I want to highlight my sponsor, Gloria Dotson with Mary Kay. She's catering to all of your beauty needs from head to toe. You can head over to her website at Gloria Dotson. You type in marykay.com/GDOTSON. Make sure you tell her that Warriors Talk sent you. And I will leave you guys with these words of wisdom. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter. You guys, join me next Monday at 6 p.m. on Intellectual Radio. And as always, thank you for tuning in to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we are changing lives one warrior at a time.